Okay, this is Aaron back again with Exalted Lamb 1. And more stuff has been going on, of course. And I'm coming to some different understandings on, the dark side of the coin, like I've mentioned, and the light side of the coin. Some pretty crazy stuff. So I want to start off again here, going back to the dark side of the coin and revisiting this whole thing with NASA. But first, I want to show this. Okay, so they can't have any reason to take my video down like they took down my first channel for no reason. So I want to show them this. And I want to get into something first. A little bit of lightness, light side of the coin first, a little bit of personal experience, and then I'll get into the dark side of the coin stuff. Okay, so I had a kind of a personal experience which was really cool recently. Here I put out one of my last videos, and I'm really concerned. I'm not getting much. I mean, I'm thankful. I'm getting people watching my videos and stuff. And I've only had this out for like a week and a day, really, not including the first channel that was shut down for no apparent reason, of course. So who knows how long this is going to last. But, and I'm just praying and asking the Lord, how can I have more impact and, warn people? And I'm like, when, Lord, when am I going to be able to be let loose and have more impact on people, more, and so here I'm at work, and I'm outside walking around praying, asking, begging, just, frustrated in a way, like I end up being at different times. And then he ends up giving me stuff. So it's just crazy. But I'm just, you spend your time with the Lord, you spend your valuable time, hopefully. And I do that all the time at different times when I'm really struggling, or I need to know answers, or I just want to get close to him. And I'm saying, when, Lord, when? And I look down, I'm walking by these dumpsters, and I end up looking down, and I see this thing. And it's a candle. It's a little candle, and it's just laying on the ground by the dumpster. And it says, just wait until you see what is possible when you shine your light in the world. And I was like, God's done this stuff for me so many times in my life, and it just still blows me away. The perfect timing of it all, the message he says. Sometimes it's the inner witness, sometimes it's circumstances, sometimes it's a message somewhere on a billboard or on even a license plate. I mean, anything. And the timing and the context are what it's all about, and the inner witness at the same time. And so I hope that blesses you, because it really blessed me, and it really did something for me. And then he started showing me more things that I needed to know. And I'm going to be revealing more things on the light side of the coin about the Revelation 12 sign that are just crazy, that are coming up. You won't want to miss that one. So this one I just have to hit because things that NASA is doing. So here we go. Okay, so here's that article. Basically, it was originally Popular Mechanics, but it's all over the place. NASA to send submarine to seafloor near Hawaii next week. So again, August 20th. And so I wanted to do something very quick, showing a little video and things on how NASA cannot be trusted. You cannot trust their cover story. I mean, what are they known for the most, of course? The moon landing. And there is evidence upon evidence. If you've ever looked at it, it is overwhelming, especially as technology increases and our insights and things increase. We didn't actually go. There's photographic evidence, there's scientists, and I mean, it just goes on and on and on. If you've ever looked into this subject, but don't have to take my word for it, or don't even, if I just say that, I'm going to show you some evidence right here, right now.
We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation.
But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation.
Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
Are you kidding me? Here's an engineer for NASA talking about a new venture they're going to do. And they're saying, basically for the first time, they're going to try to solve the radiation problems. Now, if you even looked into this, this is one big thing as far as the moon landing goes. This is one huge thing. The Van Allen radiation belt. I've done some research on this. There is no way that the Apollo mission to the moon for the first time was going to go through the Van Allen radiation belt. I mean, you'd have to have massive lead shielding for this radiation, and it was way too heavy. That's just one factor of many why we never went to the moon. There's so much, again, there's so much physical evidence, photographic evidence, scientific evidence that we never went. Now, this is an engineer basically admitting, for some reason, I don't know what they're thinking. I guess they just start talking and things come out, I guess. I don't know. But they're admitting we never went through the Van Allen radiation belt, and we would have to go to the moon. Okay, so now I'm going to go to something else here. Okay, now this is another clip, and we had Buzz Aldrin. He was supposedly the second man to walk on the moon, and here in a recent interview by this little girl and her dad, who's taking a video camera and using this, she asked him a very interesting question. Now you got to really watch his response. If you don't know about this, this is very interesting. And just think about this. He is an older man now. I don't know how, he must be 80 or something. I don't know. But he's an older man now. And he is getting to the point where he cannot hold this in any longer, probably. I mean, so he's probably just being honest now. He probably doesn't care. He's old enough. And the guy's still completely, he has his intelligence still. He hasn't lost that or anything. So just watch this video and see if we can actually believe what NASA says.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
By the way, she says, why hasn't anyone been to the moon in such a long time, if you didn't hear that?
Not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. But I think I know. Because we didn't. Because we didn't. Because we did.
I want to play that again. Here we go.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. But I think I know. Because we didn't. Because we didn't. Because we did.
Okay, that's enough. So, again, you have Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, supposedly. And there's so much. Like I said, there is testimonies. There are, there's actually people who do body language and facial reading and stuff of the different astronauts, and they basically said they're experts for the FBI and stuff, and they basically said what these so-called astronauts, I mean, they've been in space and stuff, but they haven't been to the moon. What they said while they were being interviewed looks like they were hiding stuff, and there's just so much stuff. Again, all the physical evidence that we have, the photographic evidence is huge. Just one thing, a couple things I want to mention about that, just real quick. So when the lander, or the pod that landed, there's no crater underneath it. There was no dust that accumulated on the feet, which is just ridiculous. There's certain things that I saw, even as a kid, I remember going, this is a little weird. I mean, I'm kind of an inquisitive person that notices things, and I always have been. But there were just so many things about this that just makes no sense. So anyway, you have two people right here, just these two, basically saying, we didn't go through the Van Allen radiation belt, and we're just dealing with that challenge right now for the first time with this new voyage, or this new thing. And then we have Buzz Aldrin basically saying that we didn't go, and I want to know why we haven't gone since then. So he's admitting that. So, I mean, what do the skeptics have to say now? Okay, so I'm going to continue with this. And then, so if NASA is not going to the moon and doing certain things, then they're playing a front. This proves they're playing a front, and that's their cover story, like I said in my last video. This, I could present a lot more information on this. I mean, it could just be ridiculous. I could have hours of stuff that I know about NASA not going to the moon, but I'm not going to do that. This should be enough, and then you can, dig in more yourself. Just look. There's a documentary, Did We Really Go to the Moon? Or a funny thing happened on the way to the moon, and there's other ones as well. And there's just so much different, as far as a quick overview. And there's so many other details you can find yourself very simply because of the technology we have, because of the internet. It wasn't like back then. They couldn't look up all this stuff and see if it actually happened. So there was no debunkers at the time. There's plenty of debunkers now, and then they just try to quiet the ones who make the biggest noise right now. So I want to get into what NASA is actually doing then. If they're not doing some of these things, or this is a cover story, then what are they doing? So if this is a cover story, them going to, my premise is that if this is a cover story, them going to Hawaii and not really doing that, what are they doing? So they're into weather modification. That's one of their primary goals and objectives, is weather modification. They work in that field, and so I'm going to show that to you as well. Now keep in mind with this is a story done by the BBC called Top Gear. I've watched the show different times. Happened to see this one time, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And you have to listen to what the guy says at the very end of this video, and I might point it out again. But again, there's a cover story. The reason why they're allowed here, the BBC and this particular guy, is because they're trying to promote a cover story, which is a false story about what's actually going on. So they're good at this. This is what the government does. This is what the deep state do. This is what NASA and other agencies do. So they can do their nefarious stuff behind the scenes. And if you really look at this is obvious. I mean, hopefully you have the eyes to see this. And I'm going to talk about this a little bit more. But here's the little story blurb. Oops, here we go.
It may only be 130 miles to space, but to cover that distance, the engines will use 500,000 gallons of fuel, and that works out at 2 feet to the gallon. Despite the cost, however, NASA does need to test these engines once in a while. So they built this place in the wetlands of Mississippi.
By the way, the wetlands of Mississippi is a key geographical place for the East Pacific and for the Gulf and for the Atlantic, right in the middle between those areas. And that's a key place where they make hurricanes.
The first thing they installed was a huge loudspeaker, through which they played white noise to simulate the sound of a rocket. They then sent a number of trucks in different directions out into the wilderness, and the drivers were ordered to stop when the noise levels became acceptable. This gave them an imaginary boundary line, and anyone living on the inside of it was offered a simple choice. Stay, and you'll never hear another television program as long as you live. Or take the NASA shilling and get out.
Yeah, so take NASA's money and get out. That's what he's basically saying. So they basically harassed these people with noise, and they said, we want you to be a certain distance away from us so we can do what we need to do, and no one can see it or question it. And so we're going to blare this noise until you finally take the money we're offering and get out. I mean, are you kidding me? This is, this is like what the mafia does. Absolutely. They couldn't find a place that has tons of square miles, thousands of square miles where there's no inhabitants. I mean, and people that live there in their lives. No, this is a key spot on the coast. So just keep that in mind.
No one stayed. And NASA ended up with exactly what it wanted. 125,000 acres of nothing. They even had to move 5 cemeteries because the noise they were planning on making would wake the dead. Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And, as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now listen, I'm just showing you this clip. I might show you some other stuff, but there is so much other evidence. For you who look into this stuff, or if you want to even question this stuff, you can look and you can find. Oh, it's just plethora of evidence. So that's one I want to show everybody here. NASA's playing God. Absolutely, they are. They are a big key in weather manipulation. Again, they have these ground-based cloud producers also in Africa. Okay, you think I'm making that up? Well, let me show you. Okay, and I want to show you a clip here from weatherwar101.com. You can also look up Weather War 101 on the YouTube channel. And I don't know what happened to this guy. He hasn't been doing anything for about 8 months, but the time he has been doing a lot of videos, he has amazing information. You should check this YouTube channel out, or the website. Actually, I'm sorry, the website's down, so I don't know what happened to this guy. It's funny how some of these people that are so close to the truth, they just disappear. I have another lady you should look up as well. Her channel was Universal News Media. Go to youtube.com or YouTube Universal News Media, and she had compelling evidence, especially her last few videos on Planet X incoming system. I haven't even really talked about that yet, and it's just too much stuff to get into to verify it and to back it up and everything. It's probably just that is tens of hours, maybe a couple hundred hours of actual video to show the actual all the evidences to build that up. But anyway, if you check that out, and then she just disappeared. We don't know what's going on with her. She's been gone for a few months now, and her last couple of videos are been crazy. I mean, the evidence right there is just mind-blowing. By the way, Planet X and its surrounding planets, because it is a small solar system, is about to be revealed. It will be seen very soon. So this is all going to come together. So let me just show you this here.
Yep, there's another way water can get into the air. The water on the doghouse roof dried pretty fast in the warm sun. This water disappears faster because the stove is hotter. This change from water we can see to water vapor we can't see is called evaporation. The cloud from the spout of the tea kettle is condensation of the water vapor from the tea kettle hitting the colder air. The hot water in the kettle gives off water vapor to the air by by rapid evaporation, just as rivers, lakes, and ponds give off water vapor to the air by slow evaporation. As the hot, water-filled air hits the colder air near the ice tray, the water vapor turns into clouds of tiny water droplets floating in the air. Condensation. When the air is quite cold and cannot hold any more water droplets, they collect together to form larger drops, as on the ice tray. And being too heavy to float in the air, they fall back to the earth as rain. Without water in the air, we couldn't live. Our fields would be dry, and nothing would grow. The hot water in the kettle gives off water vapor to the air by rapid evaporation, just as rivers, lakes, and ponds give off water vapor to the air by slow evaporation. The hot water in the kettle gives off water vapor to the air by rapid evaporation, just as rivers, lakes, and ponds give off water vapor to the air by slow evaporation. The hot water in the kettle gives off water vapor to the air by rapid evaporation, just as rivers, lakes, and ponds give off water vapor to the air by slow evaporation.
You see these places where they're putting this up in the air very quickly? That is not natural. So as we know, these are produced off the coast of Africa, these hurricanes. So you're going to see why they're actually produced. I mean, how, I should say. And these are on-land producers. Not as sophisticated as the one I showed you with NASA, but they are there, and they're producing right there all at the same time. Again, it's a key spot in Africa where the warmer water is, and so you mix those two together. You create these clouds, and the warmer water's there, and then you have a machine that basically can heat up and maneuver these hurricanes. There you go, gravity wave generated. And this is where these Atlantic hurricanes are birthed. Wait for it. Wait for it. And as I've shown in my other videos, they use this microwave weapon or something to hit the water, to rapidly heat the water to go right into the hurricane. And here we go. Congratulations, you have a happy bouncing baby hurricane. Crazy. So if you want to go see this, you go to that go to that YouTube channel, weatherwar101.com, or weatherwar101 on YouTube channel, because the website's down and it has been for a while. Hurricane Irma, obvious man-made origin. So you can see why I don't trust NASA, and I know they're doing weather modifications. So again, when you look at these details, if you would investigate this more, you'd see that man-made weather is just a reality all over the world. Okay, so that's the point I'm making with this. Okay, now we're to Hurricane Lane, and as you see here, this is the latest on NOAA, basically showing their model. They don't show the other models, the many other models that show it actually impacting Hawaii. Like I said, they're not going to. So this is basically showing the path of what they're saying as of this morning, Saturday morning. So that's pretty much typical. They actually at the end made it go up a little bit more than what it was the previous day. But let me show you another example here. Okay, now here's Ventusky, VENTUSKY.com. There's also an app you can get as well. And here's it predicting or showing. Again, these are just models, so it still may not hit the island. I have another theory that I haven't rolled out, and I've thought about for actually a couple weeks. In that when iPad Goat shows the two eyes spinning, which may be the first hurricane, which is Hector, and the second hurricane, which is Lane, and then the head spins, the goat's head spins, it could be a third and final one for different reasons. So, but it looks like I'm putting all my eggs right now at this moment in the second one because it looks more plausible. But also in iPad Go, there's a confirmation of there's possible another confirmation of a third one as well. So it could be 1, 2, 3 hit. It's psychological as well. But here, when we're seeing another example of this, it's actually hitting. So they don't show those, of course, not a national news media. They'll just say, oh, it may touch it or whatever, or, we got to watch it. But this is one example where it's showing, and other models showing a direct hit into Hawaii. So, but they won't show you that. Again, that doesn't fit the narrative. All these other models that have probably actually a better accuracy than NOAA's models, and there it is showing it hitting on the 23rd, 24th. And my thing is about the 23rd, possibly 21st, 22nd, 23rd is what I said in my last video. And I knew about that way before the hurricane even formed because of different reasons. Things in the Revelation 12 sign, which I'll get into later. Things in the iPad Goat. Again, we're looking at two different timelines. I'm looking at a timeline from God, in the sun, moon, and stars. I'm looking at a timeline from the enemy or the satanic or Luciferian forces that are behind all this stuff in government and things. So we have two timelines. That's why I'm choosing to use these two examples. Again, there's more information I could use. There's far more stuff to support a lot of this stuff, but it would just take hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of video time to get into all this stuff, to set it up and then show you the the conclusions. So this is the best I can do right now at this time, with the time that we have and time I have daily. It's pretty crazy. So there's so many confirmations in so many different areas, dreams and physical things, just so many things. I can't even get into all of them. But anyway, I wanted to show you some of the biggest things. This is actually showing it impacting. And listen, it may not happen. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know the future. I don't have a "thus saith the Lord" thing from God or whatever. But I do feel Him guiding me, and that's usually how He does it in most things. He puts breadcrumbs out and guides you to the truth if you're open, if you're listening, if you're asking, if you're going His way. Now, there's a lot of people who are not going His way, so they won't get the information, they won't see it, they won't have the inner witness and all that. So I'm going to leave it here probably. There's other things I could do. Like I said, I could show you about the third. Now, this is crazy. I'm going to say one more thing. On iPad Go, it shows a possibility. When I saw 821, when the apple splits, it could be 8, 2 plus 1 is 3. So 8-3 would be the third day of the 8th lunar month. But that doesn't it doesn't support that in the beginning few seconds with the goat's head spinning. And that could be and guess what? The 8th month, lunar month, and the third day is the last day of the Feast of Trumpets this year. So I'm actually going to do a video next, which is going to be about the Revelation 12 sign. You got to watch that. If you're a brother, sister in Christ, and you know the Revelation 12 sign is correct, this is going to prove it, I think, beyond a shadow of a doubt for you. So, and we're almost there. We are almost there. You've got to watch that other one. Thank you. Exalted Lamb 1, over and out.